You see, it's the truth that hurts. If it's not true, then it can't really hurt you. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 6, episode 6, and I'm going to definitely get to what I'm talking about when I say it's the truth that hurts. It's the truth that hurts. Anytime somebody slays you with your truth, those are the things that hurt. Somebody tell a lie on you. No, child, who cares? Who cares? You telling a lie, child, psh, get on out of my face. Cuss them out and keep it moving. But when somebody hits you with your truth, that's when it taps into your fee-fees, honey, and it'll break you. It'll break you down. It'll break your spirit. It'll stop you dead in your tracks because it's the truth that hurts. But we're going to get to that. Listen, let's start here. Let's start with Karen. Now, Miss Karen, girl. So last we seen them, they were fussing, okay? They were fussing, Giselle and Karen and all of this. And literally what I saw at that table is that they both know that they're out of order. They both know they've been out of order for all these years. And this stuff is going way back. This is like literally years. I laughed at Candace being the voice of reason. Of all people. Candace? But Candace was making 200% sense, okay? But I just was laughing at the fact that it was Candace. The one that can't never get it right. The one that can't never admit to what she's done. She can't never admit to her wrong. And, you know, the apology thing is just... when it involves Candace, like, child, are you serious? And then moving on? Oh, stop. You ain't moved on yet. Candace, you ain't moved on from Monique. You ain't moved on from Ashley. You get at Ashley every time you get a chance. So sometimes, it's, you know, there's that other little situation of it's not the message, it's the messenger. So, but they didn't even tap into it because they were so busy. See, this is how petty they are in their argument. They are so petty with each other and argue. They're so used to arguing with one another. They ain't even really clocked that it was Candace straightening them out. So they just kind of ignored it. But I'm sure they'll get back to her because they petty. But anyway, what I saw from all of that arguing is that both of them know they at points they're out of order. But neither one wants to show weakness to the other in front of the group. And that's the key thing. In front of the group. They don't mind making up with each other. They don't mind any of it. What they mind is the fact that the group will be able to look and say, oh, well, this one gave in. Or that one gave in. That's what the problem is. It's the petty on top of the fact that they both want to be the grand dame. That's my assessment. But anyway, I laughed. And then when Karen says later on, after they separated out, they agree to disagree for now. And like Candace told them, this don't even need to be done at the table with us. Y'all need to get together sometime while we're here and get y'all problem handled. That's what y'all need to do without us as a group. And once they separated out, Karen says, you see how petty Giselle is? When I sent her my apology text, just crickets. That's what we got, crickets. And that speaks to her character. No, that speaks to your character because y'all are sitting there arguing, screaming, yelling, and all of this. Y'all had this whole production and you decide to do an apology in the text. All because you're being petty. You don't want to give in. You don't want to give in. And the truth of the matter is, you said what you said about Jamal Bryant. You said what you said. It's a conversation that no one who is friends with a person should be doing interviews and dragging that type of information on their friend. Like, you should just avoid it. You know, that's the easiest thing for your friendship is just avoid those questions about Jamal and his infidelity and your good friend Giselle. It would have just been easier to avoid those questions. You've been trained, you know how to do it. But you went and you spoke because you were pissed off at her from an array of things. But the thing that you seemed to want to cling hold to was that little situation about Ray, and that was some bullcrap. The girl didn't speak death over Ray, and you know she didn't. And you're just trying to hold on to it. But again, you got more things in your bag for Giselle that you could have been holding on to, Karen, and use with the argument, and you would, because you're losing. Flat out. You've lost this argument. You have literally lost this argument, and you do have stuff in your artillery that you could actually battle back with her and you wouldn't have lost. But you lost because this little thing with Ray, you really were putting 20 on 10, and everybody knows it. So, you've lost the argument, girl. Go on and do whatever it is y'all want to do. But that's what I saw. Everybody wants to be the grand dame, honey. Everybody. But I think they both did bad stuff to each other. They did. Anyway, moving on. Michael and Ashley. So, whatever. Whatever. The only thing I pulled out, you know, I told you I ain't gonna be talking about them a lot because they ain't doing nothing. They really ain't. They ain't doing that. Getting acclimated to having 2 children instead of 1. Okay, great. Anyway, for some reason, I don't know why Ashley thinks it's a good idea, talking to Michael about setting up Giselle. John, if you don't get out of here, you just trying to find a space in the middle of the road, girl. You know what happens in the middle of the road? You get hit by a bus. Now get on out of here. Move it on. Wendy. So they're getting dressed for dinner. Okay? Get dressed for dinner. And the first thing I looked at Wendy, and I was like, Wendy, are you serious right now? With her little Versace outfit, which was too small. The whole bustier is just too small. It's too small. That is not even a problem if you're wearing the bustier, but come on, Wendy, seriously, it's too little. That one's too little, babe. It's literally is too tight, and then you've bought it in petites. You're not petite. You're not petite. You're a taller woman, Wendy. So it's too short as well. And it just looks a mess. It's like Ashley size. And you know, squeeze them great big old jugs in there. And I'm like, and it don't even look good. Like your boob job is nice. It turned out really good. But right now, with that too small top on, guess what it looks like? Stone tits. That's what it's giving. It doesn't look attractive. It doesn't look supple. It looks like Stonehenge. Just like, girl, stop. That don't look good at all. It really doesn't. Robin and Giselle were actually, while everybody's getting dressed, they were talking about Wendy. And Wendy actually had walked in, but she kind of didn't catch the conversation. But they were talking about her and the change in her. And that whole little thing. And they said this, you know, something was off with Wendy. Something's totally off. And they think that she's overcompensating, and they've seen more of her skin than they've ever seen. And it's like she's a whole different Wendy. Then Robin actually went so far as to say, basically, like she's questioning whether she even likes Wendy anymore. I'm like, really, Robin? Now, I don't think it's that deep. I really don't, but come on, Robin. That was a little much. But yeah, she said, if I met this Wendy, would I have even liked her? I'm like, wow, that's really judgmental. That is really judgmental. I was like, dang, okay. So, and then they called the cottage the servant quarters. I said, they messy. Messy. Anyway, when they get to dinner, they start off, the conversation is about Chris. Chris being a manager for Candace. And Giselle basically was siding with Candace's mother. And she's like, I don't like it. It's just too easy for it to be like he's clout chasing off of her or basically riding her coattails. Um, Candace handled it very well because I thought she was going to get the crying and get all in her feelings, but she didn't. She told me, if I thought for one moment that at any point that Chris would clout chase off of me or ride my coattails or try to make a come up off of me at my detriment, I would have never married him. I have full trust in my husband, and I'm fine with it. I said, you're finally growing up. You're finally growing up and stepping into your womanhood instead of this little girl that just happened to just have got married, because she stood there with her. She stood strong in her decision and strong beside her husband, and that was nice to see. That was nice to see because I don't get that. Like, I don't get that from Chris at all. I've never thought that Chris was trying to make a come up off of Candace. I really think he loves her. I could even imagine because she's so extra that I when I first started watching with them, I was saying, how does he even do it? Like, what did he want with her? I just couldn't. But I didn't feel like he was trying to use her. I didn't know what it was. I just thought he really, really liked her. I don't know. I'm hey, if he's doing it and he's being shady, he's a hell of an actor because I feel like that man loves her, and I don't think that Chris would do anything to harm Candace at all. I think that it's quite the other way around. If you do something to harm Candace, I think Chris will hurt you. That's the vibe I get. I don't think because Chris don't even take but so much off with her mother. When the mother get to doing too much, he'd be like, I, I don't know. I don't agree. And I'm just looking at Giselle like funny, like she got all the answers. Anyway, then they start talking about Robin. Robin and her issue, and she opened up more about the fact that Juan's getting irritated as hell with her, and basically she's wearing him out. She's on his nerves. And then she said one of the son's grades are dropping. I'm like, oh, okay, Robin. So Escala started talking, and she said, this sounds like depression, Robin. It sounds like a little more. And they basically, I guess she took it on the chin really, really well as well. And they were giving her good advice. Tell her, you may need to, don't try to work this out on your own. You need to go ahead on and go see a therapist. And you took the first step. You're talking, you're speaking about it publicly and talking to your girlfriends. So that there's actually a problem. There's a problem, and you've already admitted to it. So that's half of the journey. So I agree. I think she needs to go see a therapist, and I say quickly. Because if the child's grades is going down, then this garbage you got going on is really, it's starting to be a detriment inside your house, and your husband's already pissed, or your boyfriend, whatever. He's already, it's causing tension between you and Juan, but now the kids are being affected by it. No, Robin, that ain't working. So they gave her some good advice there. Then they went on to Wendy, and it was Giselle and Robin, and they did come hard at Wendy, and they gave her the whole thing. They basically said what it was that they had been saying. Um, Wendy defended her stance. She said, I'm 2 months from dealing with postpartum. I got a new body work done. Yes, I'm enjoying myself. Um, she denied, trying to, deal with anything or trying to, or change it. She's like, this is who I am. It's the person I am. I have a lot of different sides to me. I'm still, the scholar. I'm still the woman with all the degrees. I'm still the person I am at work, but I have this side as well. Karen actually jumped in there and stood up for Wendy because she's like, she didn't like that they were coming at her like that. And then Giselle and Robin were saying, like, well, it kind of seems like the sexiness thing is like a lack of confidence And she's like, no, I am very confident. And my sexiness and my confidence and the way I feel about it will be judged by me. It'll be decided by me, not by you all. So she, Wendy know how to get him up off her back. So she got him up off her back for right then. Okay. Escala didn't like it. See, I liked Escala, but it's amazing to me how they're allowing Escala to run rampant through their girlfriend group, where she's not actually part of the group. She really does speak a lot. Like she talks a lot, not to have been there. Like I'm like, oh, Escala. Every time she does it, and she's always saying like correct stuff and good stuff, but it's like, girl, you don't really know them like that. When I step into a group that I'm not a part of, I'm not quick to start adding my piece to it. I'm not going to throw any ingredients into the soup. We'll just look at them, honey. But no, Mr. Scholar, honey, she's, she jumped right in and said what she had to say. I said, okay. All right. And anyway, she turned that mirror right around on Giselle and said, you've had a lot to say tonight about everybody else's stuff. So I keep hearing different things about you and your relationship and different things like that, and you are not discussing that. So I'm asking you, are you in a relationship? Honey, and Giselle's face was cracked and her mouth dropped open and she didn't like it. And she said, well, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to discuss him in front of a troll. I said, girl, you did not just sit there and act just like you were correct and just busted out of nowhere and calling Karen a troll. That was so out of order. Karen wasn't even saying nothing. You just fired at her. I said, wow. And she said, I'm not going to discuss him in front of her. I'm not. Now, I understand that, but you ain't have to call her no troll and all of that. But I do understand you not wanting to discuss Jamal in front of Karen. I definitely understand it. I do. But again, tonight you literally were. You was over there like you was Dr. Phil. You was firing at everybody. And I mean, you was asking everybody the hard questions. But girl, you didn't like it. But that's Giselle. Giselle could dish it, but she cannot take it. Anyway, I looked at Wendy. Wendy closed her shirt toward the end of dinner. And I just looked at Wendy. And I said, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. And then there was a whole little thing that next day. There was a conversation between Karen and Wendy. And Wendy was just that. Like I said, guilty as charged. Wendy was in her feelings. And those things that they were saying touched her in her spirit. Because they were true. There's something going on. There's definitely something going on. What Giselle and Robin were saying was true. But Wendy wasn't getting ready to let them do her. And I don't blame her. And I don't blame her. Not them two. Not at all. Not at all. But I see it. We all see it. You guilty as charged. And that's when she closed that shirt, that told the story. That told the story because you've been running around with your titties out happily. And Karen clocked it right away. Karen said, I see you're a little covered up today. And they get ready to go to the pool. And she totally covered a cute little white outfit. But you getting ready to go to the pool. And you're all covered up. And Karen told her, she said, don't you dare cover yourself up to appease Giselle. Don't do it. She said, you could do all those things. You can be sexy because you are. You can be a strong woman and educated because you are. You can do all those things. What you said was not incorrect. You can do all those things. You most certainly can. And you can twerk and do it all. She said, but don't you let what she's talking about break you. And she said, She said, because you don't do anything different than Giselle's done. She said she been shaking her fat vagina in our faces for years. I said, oh, not her fat vagina. But she said, the comment about lack of substance bothered her. It bothered her. And it bothered her coming from Giselle because she thought her and Giselle were closer than that. Now, I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that. And I'm sure it was hurtful. And she had tears. And she took, and this, now I'm going to go ahead. Karen, I ought to give it to Karen for this one. This is the parts of Karen that I do like. And people think that I hate Karen. I don't hate Karen. I really don't. I give Karen a hard time because I can. She's ridiculous. She is ridiculous. She's overdone. But I never hated Karen. There's parts of Karen that I really, really like. And there's parts of Karen that I just cannot stand. And that fake, I can't deal with. But when she's being the real Karen, and that's who actually spoke to Wendy, was the real Karen. The real Karen, the one that Ray snatched up and married, not who he's been married to, but who he married originally is who was talking to Wendy. When she told her, she said, if you need to cry and it's hurting you, she said, and it's fine. It's fine that what she said hurt you. But don't you dare give her that. You don't cry in front, you never cry in front of her. If you're going to cry, you cry here. You cry now, and then that's it. But you don't ever give her that. Not ever. So I said, come on now. That's the Karen I like. The real Karen. And that was the truth. And I agreed 10,000%. Don't you dare let Robin and Giselle see you in a moment of weakness, because them two heifers is something else. They really are. They really do have the mean girl thing going on. They really do. But Karen said, only a woman, when a woman attacks another woman in that manner like that, it's because of her own insecurities. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Because Wendy and Giselle did have some rapport. I felt just like nothing that Giselle said was off, nor wrong. It was the setting. It was the setting. That should not have been done at that dinner table. That should have been a conversation. When Wendy walked in that room and Robin and Giselle were talking about her, instead of clamming up, right then is when they should have went ahead and had the conversation. They should have went right on into it, because y'all was already talking about her. They was in the midst of the conversation. Just go on and have a conversation right there. But they held it until they got an audience. That was out of order. Out of order. But the information, oh yes, the information was 100% correct. 100% correct. And that's why Wendy was crying, because it's the truth that hurts, which is what I said when I started this. Anyway, that's all I got to say about this episode. It was a good episode. Good episode. But kudos to you, Karen, that you came right on through with exactly what Wendy needed when she needed it. So I was here for that. But yeah, but Giselle on the main line, there's something definitely going on with Wendy. And yeah, we got our eye on you, Wendy, child. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later, y'all. Hit it in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. All right, later.